Hello and welcome. I'm an expert in how AI is transforming modern hospitality, and I'm so pleased to be joining all of you from Europe Hotel School on your online learning journey. Today, we're going to dive into one of the biggest challenges in the industry, managing a hotel's physical assets and how we can do it smarter.
Now, what we're talking about today isn't just theory from a textbook. This is all about practical, real-world knowledge that you can actually use in hotel operations. Our whole goal here is to support your professional growth by showing you how industry experience, when it's combined with the power of AI, can give you a major advantage in your career.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start by breaking down the challenge of hotel CapEx, that's capital expenditure. Then we'll look at the old, reactive way of doing things and contrast that with a much smarter, predictive approach. I'll show you exactly how an AI platform for this works, how you prove its value, and finally, how this whole shift takes asset management from a stressful guessing game to a real, powerful strategy.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, the capital expenditure challenge. You know, a hotel is a living, breathing asset that takes a beating day in and day out. Keeping it in perfect condition isn't just a nice-to-have, it is a constant, high-stakes battle.
So, first things first, let's get on the same page. When we say CapEx, or capital expenditure, what are we really talking about? It's all the money a hotel has to reinvest just to maintain its physical value and, just as importantly, its appeal to guests. We're talking everything from the giant HVAC system on the roof down to the chairs in the lobby.
And believe me, this isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It's a huge source of pressure. This quote really hits home because it captures that human element, right? The complete unpredictability of these major expenses can honestly make this one of the most stressful jobs in the entire hotel.
And a lot of that stress comes directly from the traditional way of doing things. Let's call it the old, reactive method, which is really a strategy, if you can even call it that, that's literally built around waiting for things to fail.
And the difference between the two methods? It's like night and day. The old reactive way is pretty simple. You just wait for something to break, and then you scramble to fix it. Any planning you do is probably based on a simple age estimate from the manufacturer. But the predictive method, that's a total game changer. It's not about how old an asset is. It's about its actual health, using real-time data and AI to forecast its true life cycle.
So what happens when you stick with that old, reactive method? Well, the consequences can be pretty severe. When a critical piece of equipment, like your main air conditioning or an elevator, suddenly fails, it creates what we call a financial shock. We're talking massive, unbudgeted costs that just wreck your cash flow. And worst of all, it can absolutely ruin the guest experience. Okay, so that's the problem. How do we fix it? Well, to manage assets with the kind of precision that's expected of a top-tier professional, we need a new, predictive approach. And this is where a platform like Planergy comes into play. So what is it? Planergy is basically an AI-powered platform built specifically to solve this problem. Its whole purpose is to move us beyond those simple age estimates by actively tracking the real health and life cycle of your assets. And when you do that, it can then automate a reliable, long-term investment plan for you. So you're probably wondering, how does it actually do that? This is the really cool part, where we move away from financial guesswork and start using data science in our day-to-day operations.
It really breaks down into 4 simple steps. First, the AI monitors the health of every major asset. It pulls in data from everywhere, maintenance logs, even little IoT sensors. Second, it crunches all that data to predict exactly when a piece of equipment is going to reach its true end of life. Third, it builds a multi-year financial roadmap for you so the money is already set aside when you need it. And finally, when it's time to buy, the platform helps you manage the entire spending and procurement process.
Here's a perfect example of how that works in the real world. The AI doesn't just say, oh, the elevator is 10 years old. No way. It analyzes its entire service history, every repair, the rising cost of parts, and it determines if replacing the whole thing next year is actually cheaper than continuing to pour money into maintaining it. You see, it's a sophisticated business decision, not just a wild guess. And that level of analysis leads to another huge benefit. It lets us calculate the true return on investment for our projects. And that is absolutely critical when you need to justify these big strategic investments to your hotel owners and stakeholders. So, let's say you're looking at a big kitchen upgrade. The AI can actually model the upfront cost against the projected long-term savings you'd get from things like lower energy bills or more efficient labor.
And with that kind of hard data, a financial controller can walk into a meeting with the owners and clearly show them that yes, there's an initial cost, but this project is actually going to make the hotel money over time.
And all of this brings us to our final point. This huge shift in thinking is all about turning asset management from, a reactive gamble into a proactive strategy. This really is the future of how we're going to run our hotels.
When you do this, the strategic advantage becomes crystal clear. You stop treating the hotel like a random collection of parts, and you start seeing it as a connected, data-driven ecosystem. This approach protects the building's long-term value, it prevents those awful financial shocks, and, most importantly, it helps us deliver on our ultimate promise, a perfect, seamless experience for every single guest who walks through our doors. So, when you boil it all down, what we're really doing is transforming capital planning from a risky game of chance into the smart, strategic discipline that every modern hotel needs to survive and thrive.
So I want to leave you with a question to think about as you continue in your studies and move into your careers. As a future leader in hospitality, how are you going to use data not just to manage, but to truly protect the future of your assets?